Good evening and welcome to ABC 7 Extra. I'm Hillary Florin. Tonight, we're celebrating some amazing borderland women. March is Women's History Month, so it's a perfect time to celebrate women's contributions to history, culture, and society. And there are so many amazing stories to tell right here in the borderland, starting with a familiar face. In fact, she was just on our ABC 7 newscast this week addressing City Council about police body cams. In 1995, Zena Silva became the first African-American and Mexican-American assistant police chief. She was also the first female black detective and is now the highest-ranking woman on El Paso's police force. And while Silva is no nonsense and reached incredible achievements in public service, there is so much more to her than meets the eye. In fact, what you're about to see might surprise you. When the workday ends for Zena Silva at El Paso Police Headquarters, it's bye-bye uniform and hello dancing shoes.
I'm two separate people. So when I'm at work, I'm Chief Silva and I'm very focused and organized. But when I'm in the dance studio, I'm Zena. And I'm a completely different person. I'm passionate and I'm open and I'm exciting. So yes, I do have to channel different parts of my psyche.
And while this side of Zena might come as a surprise to some of her co-workers, it's nothing new for her.
I've been competing since I was 15 years old. I started in high school back in Queens, New York, and I did a little bit of gymnastics and volleyball, and I started doing a little bit of dance. But as time went on, I really enjoyed dancing as one of my main focuses. So over the years, I've off and on competing in different styles of dance. And just this past year, I've decided to change to ballroom. So my mom, originally from Panama, not Panama, Florida, Panama the country, danced a lot of salsa at home. And from watching her, I kind of had the rhythm for doing a little bit of dance, but I'm not as good as my mom. She's amazing. But what I did is I took classes, and that's how I got better and better. But it's always been in the family. Everybody in my family dances.
These days, Silva and her partner, Luis Grijalva, are working overtime, getting ready to head to Vegas to compete for a national title in ballroom dancing.
We're doing daily training as well as, of course, going to the gym, stretching, making sure that we eat healthy, sleep well. So it's an overall mind, body, soul training.
I watch a lot of videos. I watch a lot of other dancers. I watch people my age. I watch people that are younger. And I say, if they can do it, I can do it too.
And she does it well. Zena and Luis even appearing recently as guests on ABC 7 at 4 with Nicole Gomez, promoting an upcoming event. She's no stranger to competition. Zena is also a retired professional bodybuilder, a world-class powerlifter, and she's performed and competed in the hustle and salsa. Dancing isn't the only competition in her life. Moving up the ranks in the El Paso Police Department has also taken a lot of discipline and inner strength.
I was looking for a change, and I had applied for the police department in New York, and I did get accepted, but they had a hiring freeze. And I heard they were hiring here, and I had friends here, and I took a chance.
She became one of El Paso's finest, and the rest is history. But climbing the ranks has had its challenges.
Policing by itself is a very difficult career. It's very rewarding, it's very satisfying, and I'm so happy. This is my 29th year of service to the community of El Paso. But yes, it's been difficult. You have to study a lot. There's a lot of information. People think cops are not very smart. We're probably one of the smartest people on the planet. We have a lot to learn and we have a lot to implement to make sure the city is safe, to make sure that we arrest the right people and we charge them with the right crimes. There's a lot of paperwork, and then we have to go to court and testify. It's a lot. And to move up through the ranks is even harder.
And being a woman, Silva didn't have it easy, to say the least. Still, she persevered, shattering glass ceilings, and she knows she's paved the way for young women of the future.
The expectations are higher, and people don't expect you to do as well because you are a woman, so you have to fight just that much harder.
Is the El Paso Police Department a good place for a woman? Zena says absolutely.
You got to do it. You got to believe in yourself. Call me. I will mentor you. I will help you through the process. But you have got to believe in yourself and take that first step. I tell people, apply. You don't know if they're going to tell you no, but you'll never know if you don't take that first step.
And she says that goes for anything in life.
It's for everything. Anything that you want to do, you've got to make the first step and put yourself out there. That's really the hardest part, is taking a chance.
Among her many titles, mother, Zena's daughter, Kiana Jurado, is a Navy air crewman who graduated second in her class of 800. Even with all this talent, Silva remains humble, and lessons learned on the dance floor she applies to everyday life.
I put a lot of emphasis on my instructor, and I put a lot of faith that they're guiding me in the right direction. But really, I mean, the challenge is to get yourself to relax, to learn, to listen, and then to apply.
Wow, almost 30 years with the department and no signs of slowing down. Thank you, Zena, for sharing your story with us. You know, studies show female officers bring enormous benefits to police departments. A study from University of Virginia, in fact, shows having more women can increase reporting of violent crimes against women and decrease domestic violence. Life for female officers, though, not as trouble-free as it should be. In the past year, 2 EPPD officers were relieved of duty after being accused of sexual harassment. After that incident, all city employees, including officers, went through sexual harassment training. But to reiterate, Zena Silva and the other women of the El Paso Police Department have really paved the way for more women to join the ranks, and she encourages more young women to apply. After the break,
I didn't even know that you could have so many doctor's visits. I didn't know you could have so many physical therapies.
world champion boxer Jennifer Hahn on raising a child with special needs and training her younger sister Stephanie to hopefully be the next world champ from El Paso. You don't want to miss their story. It's coming up right after the break.
My Lowe's Rewards credit card saves us 5% on the things we need. 5% off, 5% off, 5% off.
And as loyalty members, we get points toward Milo's money for the things we want.
Oh, we want this.
The all-new Milo's Rewards loyalty program is here. Download the app to join, earn, and save today.
There are trucks, and then there's the GMC Sierra. Available with the connected driving experience. And the world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Or Texas residents get 1.9% APR for 72 months on select Sierra 1500 models.
See your El Paso Las Cruces GMC dealers.
Hello, my name is Dr. Carlos Viesca with Border Pain Institute, and I would like to introduce you to the new FDA-approved Intracept procedure, which is 90 to 95% successful in treating low back pain. This revolutionary procedure is minimally invasive with a very short recovery time that will help you regain functionality and get you back to the normal activities that bring joy to your life. If you or someone you know is suffering from chronic pain, give us a call to discuss your options.
Watch Smart Money Thursday on ABC 7 at 4 with Myro Capital Management. You'll learn how to save money the right way and make better decisions to set you and your family up for financial success. Smart Money Thursday on ABC 7 at 4, sponsored by Myro Capital Management.
Swipe right on savings this month at Oscar Leaser's Hyundai of El Paso. Maybe your match is $4,000 off MSRP on new Santa Fe. Not 2, not 3, but $4,000 off MSRP. Swipe right on those savings, and you'll like no interest on Santa Fe and Tucson. Or maybe it's time for you to swipe right on electric, Kona EV, Ioniq 5, and Ioniq 6, all with $7,500 in retail bonus cash. Over $7,000 in savings on electric vehicles, and you won't have to stop for gas anymore. Swipe right on savings at Oscar Leaser's Hyundai of El Paso.
If I had another family, I would never have chosen boxing. I would have probably been a ballet dancer.
Surprising words coming from the mouth of a world champion boxer sitting alongside her sister, who very well may hold that title next.
Her personality is very nice.
Yeah,
very
not
passive.
aggressive. Yes, no.
Love.
But not in the ring. The proof on this wall. Jennifer Hahn held the IBF featherweight title from 2015 to 2020 and is the first world champion boxer from El Paso. Now she's turned her attention to training her sister Stephanie, who's 7 years younger, and moving up the ranks.
I know I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. I know I wouldn't be here. She's helped me so much, and she's mentored me. She gives me advice. She sees my mistakes.
Currently ranked 7th in the World Boxing Association, Stephanie Hahn has an upcoming fight in April in Pennsylvania. The former national amateur star recently returned to the ring after taking a few years off, getting married and having children. Older sister Jennifer pointing out how much things have changed for women in the sport since she was fighting.
We broke down a lot of barriers. A lot of people weren't interested in seeing females. And I was the beginning. And she's the future. Like now it's so much better because women are fighting on TV now. And when I was fighting, they didn't give us opportunities like that. So we've definitely come a long way, but we're not there yet, but we've definitely come a long way.
Growing up, it didn't matter to the girls what others thought, but what their father, Master Bae-Yun Han, thought.
He's Mr. Miyagi.
Yes.
That's what he is. He's there for
Yes.
presence. Everyone respects him.
Yes.
He's there. You bow to him. He'll make his comments, but he just stays in his corner and that's it.
Of the 5 Han children, Jennifer is the oldest, Stephanie and her twin sister Heather the youngest. The children all started at Master Han's martial arts studio in Northeast El Paso between the ages of 3 and 5.
We lived at the gym and we go to school and then we come home and we go train, teach class, and we get home like at 9, 10 o'clock as kids.
Stephanie excelled in wrestling and was a 4-time All-American and state wrestling champ 4 years in a row. All the together time in the gym brought the family very close.
Growing up, we didn't know anything else. This was our life, and I don't think there's a day that goes by that I don't talk to them or see them.
Yeah, I called you like 10 times today.
Yes.
Minimum.
As Jennifer became more skilled in martial arts, she got frustrated as boys stopped wanting to fight her. And then she got a different kind of offer.
Somebody offered to fight me a boxing match. Martial arts is a different sport than boxing. And when we decided to go for boxing, even though that wasn't my dad's specialty, he trained us the best we could, and we know the definition of what hard work is. And because of that, that's why we were very, very successful amateurs and now pros.
The biggest challenges for Jennifer Han came not from training or fighting itself, but gaining respect as a woman.
When I started boxing, we were one of the pioneers of boxing because a lot of females weren't boxing at that time. So I was on the first U.S. Women's World Championship team. I was a 6-time national champion. I got to fight all over the world. I wanted to fight in the Olympics. I had waited in 2000. I had waited 2004. Waited 2008. Women's boxing didn't become an Olympic sport until 2012, and I turned pro in 2008.
In between training sessions, this close-knit family spends as much time together as possible. As you can see, the cousins, aunts, uncles, all comfortable in the studio. And Master Han right in the middle of it all, always watching, always teaching. Jennifer, now a martial arts instructor, has 2 sons. Stephanie, an instructor at El Paso Police Department's Academy, also has 2 children, a son and daughter. Their most important titles, Mom. That too, a struggle at times. In addition to training, balancing home and work life, each of them has a child with special needs.
It was a hard journey. Like I remember the doctors told me when she was little, they were like, there's something wrong with her, something genetic is going wrong. And they said only time will tell. And I remember feeling like, it's obviously you want your child to be healthy and perfect. And eventually we accepted it, me and my husband, we accepted it. And we realized, yes, she's special. And it took about almost 2 years to finally find out what syndrome she had. And at that point, we were like, it doesn't matter what she has, we're gonna love her regardless. And she is loved, you have no idea. She is loved by everyone. And I'm so, for me, again, going back to hard work and discipline, the only difference between my son and my daughter is just she needs extra work. That's it.
Both babies born with different syndromes that weren't genetic and took some time to diagnose.
Then with Nolan, it was hard because I struggled breastfeeding him. He wouldn't eat, he wouldn't gain weight. And then...
Jenny.
I didn't even know that you could have so many doctor's visits. I didn't know you could have so many physical therapies. I didn't know that all of this existed. I didn't know that there was so much equipment. And then it was amazing to me because, we do martial arts. I teach class all the time. I help kids all the time. And I couldn't help my kid. Like I said, he's the biggest blessing in my life, and I know Josie's the biggest blessing in Stephanie's.
I asked Stephanie what it's like for her son to watch her fight.
He's 9. And he is my biggest fan. And every time I fight here in El Paso, he has his phone and he's recording me. And he's wearing the Enforcer shirt that I have.
Yes.
And he's yelling for me.
Also a big fan, the ever watchful Master Han.
Yeah, I'm proud of father because they listen to me good. They sacrifice life, sacrifice for whatever. They training.
Stephanie, these days training hard in Las Cruces with Louis Burke and in El Paso with her family.
I go to work, come home, I go to Las Cruces. Sometimes I take my kids, sometimes I don't. And then after that, I go train with my dad at my dad's gym with my sister. And then I'll come home and get everything ready that I need for my kids and myself the next day.
She's special. Everybody can say, oh yeah, she's this, she's that, whatever, but Stephanie works for what she wants. And I know she will be a world champion because not only does she have the talent, but she has a desire. And this world, it's meant for Stephanie because she's going to...
You're so nice.
So good luck to Stephanie Hahn. The Borderland is cheering you on. When we come back, I sit down for an exclusive one-on-one with the highest-ranking Latina in the FBI. Stay with us.
There are trucks, and then there's the GMC Sierra. Available with the connected driving experience. And the world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Or Texas residents get 1.9% APR for 72 months on select Sierra 1500 models.
See your El Paso Las Cruces GMC dealers.
Preparing for a road trip takes a lot of planning to make sure you reach your destination. Dodds Wealth Management Group is your local financial planning firm. We are fiduciaries and obligated to act in our clients' best interest. No one knows what life changes will come, so let us help you be ready when they do. Dodds Wealth Management Group, creating, building, and preserving wealth.
When a rookie stunt driver meets the trainer who thought he'd seen it all. Again. There's bound to be action. But this is no ordinary blockbuster. It's a Nissan sales event ad, so you better act fast. Don't miss your chance to drive away in a new Nissan. Let's roll. Hurry into the Nissan Thrill of the Drive sales event.
Now get 4.9% APR financing for 60 months or get a low $269 per month lease on Sentra.
Welcome back. Here in the Borderland, we're surrounded by good women, many of them in law enforcement. At a recent International Women's Day luncheon hosted by the Call Me Able Foundation, we celebrated some of the unstoppable women in law enforcement.
They're like everyday heroes. They just see an officer or a woman officer, but they don't know that they're a mom, a daughter, a sister, and they sacrifice so way more than the average woman.
And coming all the way from Washington, D.C. to accept her award, the highest ranking Latina in the FBI, Arlene Gaylord. She was given the Law Enforcement Woman of the Year award, and it's well deserved. And we are joined by EAD Arlene Gaylord right now here in El Paso. Thanks for coming all the way down.
It is absolutely my honor and my pleasure. I've really enjoyed my time here.
Not your first time in El Paso, though.
No, I think the last time was around 2011. But this is the time where I've spent the most time and done the most cool things.
The cool things. We have to get right to it because you are being honored Law Enforcement Woman of the Year with this beautiful award. Look at this. Congratulations.
Thank
what
you
does it feel like to get this award?
So it's very humbling. It's very moving for many different reasons. The other honorees were all sworn law enforcement and firefighters, and I feel that they run into buildings, they run towards gunfire, right? And as a professional staff, an intelligence analyst employee, a non-sworn, it means more than just me getting the award. To have the opportunity to honor the incredible women behind the scenes that kind of make it all happen for our sworn officers and agents.
So I notice how you turn the attention to other people. You're honoring other people, but do you realize what it means to Latinas to have you being the highest ranking Latina in the FBI? That's a big deal.
It is. And it's still, when people call me by the title, when I arrive places and people want to talk to me on the news, it's still very surreal for me. But I'm incredibly proud. And I'm actually very grateful for the organization to give me the opportunity to be the first. And it's such a blessing to work in an organization for a man like Director Ray, who lets me come into work and be bright. When he asked me to do this job, I was wearing a bright green seersucker suit. And to have him see me, all of me, right, all my intersections, appreciate me and give me this opportunity is something that I will always be grateful for.
I had the pleasure of listening to you speak earlier today at a luncheon that you were honored at, and you talked about your dad a lot. Tell us about how your mom and dad played a role in who you are today.
So they're everything. My father, Jorge Arzola, passed away after the storms in Puerto Rico around 2017, but he was a 2-star Army general. And growing up in Puerto Rico in the 70s, he was a feminist, and he always told me that I could do things, and he believed in me. And I walked through the courtyard at FBI headquarters after giving him a tour, which is like where I got started, and he told me I was going to be a senior executive. And I looked at him and I said, "Papa, tú estás loco. You are crazy, Pop. Like, look around." And there was just nobody like me. And so it has just been a career of a lifetime, really, and a career like no other.
But it's something you wanted to do, and so you were willing to start on the bottom rung. The
As
very
an
bottom.
intern.
As an intern. Tell us
Yes.
about that.
So I came in as an intern, and back then the internships were at the GS6 level, and they were what's called an NTE, which in the government means a not to exceed appointment, not to exceed 90 days. And so I have always been persistent, and I called my dad and I said, "Dad, I don't want to leave. I'm going to college here in DC." Like, he goes, "Mia, find a way to stay." And at like day 60, I went and met someone and said, "Hey, I'd like to stay. I go to college a couple metro stops away. What can I do part-time?" And they're like, "Well, you can give tours, but we're going to have to demote you to a GS5, and you're going to be part-time." And I jumped at the opportunity, and it was the best thing I ever did.
I know there must have been some tough times, you know, as you did try to reach the next level.
It has been, but actually I've had a really blessed career and the support of many mentors.
All right, we have to talk about what your dad said about men as you were beginning to get a little bit older. You were in the FBI already, and some people were saying, just find a rich man, find somebody that you can marry.
Yeah, so my dad would tell me, don't get your mister until you get your master's. He told me that early and I didn't listen. But that was very unlike what other girls my age were being told. And so I was really glad that I was raised in that kind of a household.
And you did mention that when you were speaking earlier today, talking about your mom, and it was like the toughness and the, maybe the Latina upbringing, or you get back out there and work type of attitude, right?
Yeah, and so what's funny about Latina moms and my incredible mom is that we have a way, and I know I do it to my children, and I'm sorry, kids, right? But that we're judgy. Like, and she'll call, maybe she'll see the interview, she'll be like, "I didn't like the shade of lipstick, you know, maybe you should have tucked your shirt in." But the pride that they feel in you and the empowerment that they give you, the blessing that she gave me when she basically said, "It's okay for you to go back to work, Mija," right? It's not something that I think a lot of women enjoy from their parents. I got a lot of judgment when I decided to go part-time. I got a lot of judgment when I decided to go back to work. There's judgment everywhere. They judge because they love, right? But they support when you need it the most. And Latina moms, and I think all moms, are amazing that way.
So I admire your spirit. Obviously, you've got this positive attitude. Not everyone is blessed with as positive as an attitude, especially just starting out maybe in the job market or trying to decide what they want to do and try to find out who they are. So what kind of advice do you have for younger girls?
At the end of the day, 53-year-old Arlene would tell 15 or 18 or 20-year-old Arlene that everything's going to be okay. And I think now, in my 50s, I can look back and realize that, and I think a lot of it is I'm a person of faith, right? So being able to have this incredible, unshakable faith that my parents gifted me with, that I knew that I would be okay. And that's what I would tell any young person, girls or boys. No matter what happens, bad things are going to happen, but it's going to be okay. And for every bad thing that happens, sometimes many years later, it's not till you find out the why. But every bad thing that's happened is why I'm here today, along with the good.
All made you stronger.
Absolutely.
And you were talking about men. You're grateful for the men around you.
Well, absolutely. So I would not be here. So first of all, if I look for someone like me to mentor me, I would be looking in the mirror still. So if I'm looking for a Latina executive assistant director, There is just me. And so I have to be grateful for, I am here because of the support of my father. My husband, who has followed me around, he also works for the FBI. And every time I say, hey, let's move here, let's move there, he's like, let's go, right? The men who have mentored me, right, who have given me the tough love when I haven't been doing my very best. There's one in particular that I want to honor today, because when I was thinking about possibly taking a position like this or even being considered for it, he said some words that I repeat now all the time when I was kind of doubting myself and whether I could do it or whether they would even consider me for it. He said, Arlene, why not you? And that is something that now I get to share with my mentees.
I think that's great. And I think being seen is also important in the fact that you are a Latina leader just by default. You know, with whatever you do, you are in the public eye and you're such a great example. We're so happy you came here to El Paso.
Thank you. I love El Paso.
Yes, congrats. I understand we tried a new food on this trip.
We tried several new foods.
But there was one in particular that you loved.
I love gorditas.
Gorditas.
And I did not know what they were. And they came and I looked and I said, what is this? And then it was round, it was fried. It had potatoes, it had meat. And I was like, I feel like I can like this.
Amazing.
And they were incredible. And I really love the people. And I really love seeing myself everywhere that I go.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. Congrats on this award, Law Enforcement Woman of the Year. That's just huge, and you're so deserving.
Thank you so much.
Well, we don't have enough time to highlight all the amazing women in our community, but we hope that you've enjoyed this deeper look into the lives of these ladies who were kind enough to open up and to share their stories with us. Thanks for watching ABC 7 Extra, and good night.
Thank you for watching. ABC 7 News is now available on any of these streaming services, as well as the KVIA News and KVIA Weather and Traffic apps.